One night, everything I believed about my life changed. I woke up and saw my husband, Maynard, standing beside our bed. His face was red, and he looked cold, distant, like a stranger. I was lying next to our baby, Y, who was sleeping peacefully. Maynard told me he was leaving. I didn't understand. I thought he meant a work trip, but then he said something that froze my whole body. He wanted a divorce. My heart dropped. I asked where he was going, and he said, "We're getting divorced." I couldn't move. I reached out and held his arm, begging him not to go. But he pulled away roughly and told me not to get in his way. Then, just like that, he walked out the door and left us behind. I was left shocked and heartbroken. I called his phone many times, but he didn't answer. A few days later, he came back. I hoped maybe he'd changed his mind. Maybe we could still fix things. But instead, he sat down in the living room, looked annoyed, and handed me a divorce paper. "I'm going to live with my girlfriend," he said. "We're selling the house and car. You and Y need to get out." I felt the floor slip from under me. I didn't know what to do. I begged him to stay, said I would change anything if that's what he wanted. But he looked at me like I was a problem, not a person. Then, once again, he pushed me aside and left, ignoring Y's cries from the bedroom. That house meant everything to me. It wasn't just where we lived. It was where I imagined watching Y grow up. We bought it when I got pregnant. I used to dream about planting flowers in the garden and watching Y play outside. But after the divorce papers were signed, I had to move back in with my parents. My dad was sick, and my mom worked hard to support us. I found whatever jobs I could, at stores, as a night guard, doing deliveries. I worked long days and nights just to feed Y. Life became a struggle, and I had no time to feel sad or think about Maynard. Y was still little, but he felt everything. He became quiet. When he started school, his teacher told me other kids made fun of him for wearing old clothes and not having a dad. I cried after hearing that. It wasn't fair. He didn't do anything wrong. I hadn't asked Maynard for child support because I was too overwhelmed just trying to survive. But one good thing happened. We met another single mom whose child was in the same situation. Our kids became friends, and slowly, Y started to smile again. That one friend made a huge difference. It gave Y strength, and it gave me hope. Y was a smart boy. He did well in school, and his teacher suggested he try for private middle school. But we didn't have the money. I was working every day, and there was no extra income. Around this time, my father passed away. It broke us even more. Still, Y kept going. He joined the basketball club and made more friends in public school. I also started studying to get certified for better paying work. I thought if I could work from home one day, maybe I could make our lives easier. Y and I never complained. We just kept pushing forward. One day, when Y was in high school, he asked me, "Don't we get anything from Dad?" I told him honestly, I couldn't reach Maynard, and I knew he was living with another woman. Y didn't speak much after that, but I saw the look in his eyes. He was angry, and he was hurt. After that, he studied even harder. I was still working day and night, but my health was getting worse. I couldn't keep going like before, and my mom was getting too old to help. So when Y said he'd go to a vocational school instead of college, I cried. He knew we couldn't afford more, and he made the choice to protect me. He wanted to become a judicial scrivener, someone who works with the law. He said he'd work part-time to pay his tuition. I gave him all the money I had saved over the years. It wasn't much, but he took it with a quiet smile. Just before he graduated, my mom passed away too. Losing her was like losing my last wall of strength. She had always believed in me, always pushed me to keep going. I remembered she once told Y, "I leave the rest to you." At the time, I didn't understand what she meant, but soon I would. Not long after, Y brought out an old envelope. Inside was a private investigator's report. "Grandma gave this to me," he said. "She told me to read it when I turned 20. It was about Maynard, proof that he had been cheating on me even before Y was born. There were photos, records, everything. The other woman was younger, and pregnant too. Maynard had started a whole new life with her while I was struggling through morning sickness. All those years I blamed myself for our failed marriage. But now I saw the truth. Still, I didn't want to take revenge. I just didn't want Y to carry more pain. But Y wasn't done. He found Maynard's new address and went there. The first place was empty, but a kind old neighbor remembered Maynard moving nearby. She also remembered a couple, probably my parents, coming years ago and fighting with him about child support. My heart ached hearing that. Even when I couldn't stand up for myself, my parents had. Y went to the new address and saw the house. It was big, clean, and had everything. Garden, basketball net, even a golf practice setup. Maynard had given that life to another child. Y watched from across the street and clenched his fists. He didn't shout or cause a scene. Instead, he went to a detective agency and ordered another investigation. I was worried about the cost, but Y said he used the money Grandma had left. He wanted more proof. He needed to face Maynard, not just for me, but for himself. Later, Y applied for an internship at a law firm. He didn't tell me anything at first. After his interview, he sat me down and told me the whole story. The law firm? It was where Maynard worked, and Maynard was one of the interviewers. That's when everything really changed. Y told me during the interview things were going well. Then, during the Q&A part, he asked the interviewers a shocking question. "Does your company allow affairs?" Everyone froze. Then Y calmly explained that his father worked there and had cheated on his mom, and now was having another affair in the office. One of the interviewers turned red with anger. That man was Maynard. Y looked him in the eyes and said, "Dad." Maynard had no idea it was Y sitting there until that moment. The other interviewers looked at Maynard with shock. Y stayed calm, handing over the report. Maynard couldn't deny anything. The report was full of proof. But instead of owning up to it, he got angry. He shouted at Y, saying it was harassment. Y didn't flinch. "Who's harassing who?" he asked. Maynard looked terrible, sweating, shaking. Then Y added something even worse. "By the way, Rowena is coming today." That was the woman Maynard built his second family with. She didn't know about the new affair. Y left the room, and chaos broke out. When Rowena arrived and found out everything, she slapped Maynard hard in front of everyone. Her screams filled the building. Rowena yelled at Maynard for lying and cheating. She didn't know he was married before. She hit him with her purse and said she would sue him and his company. Y stood quietly, watching. Later, Rowena apologized to Y. She said she was fooled and wanted to make things right. She even planned to file claims not just for herself, but for me. She said she would fight for child support and compensation that I never received. I was shocked to hear that the claims were still valid after 20 years, because my parents had filed them before passing away. Maynard was fired from his job. He lost everything: his career, reputation, and even the people he lied to. Rowena filed for divorce. His second affair had destroyed it all. I didn't feel happy, just relieved. After years of pain, someone finally stood up for me. Y did what I never could. He gave me peace. Maynard now works day jobs, tired and older, trying to pay back what he owes. His reputation is ruined. He's lost in a world he built on lies. And now, he has to live with the consequences. I didn't have to say a word. Y did it all. One day, I met Rowena. She was calm and kind. She said she was sorry again and again. I didn't hate her. Like me, she had been lied to. We were both victims of Maynard's lies. She had believed she was the only one. I could see we might even become friends someday. I had also changed. I passed my certification exams and started working from home. Y got a job at a great law firm. He was strong, smart, and kind. Then he told me something that made me smile. He wanted to introduce me to someone special. As I thought about what to cook for that dinner, I realized something. Life was no longer just about surviving. I had come out of the darkness. All those nights I cried alone, thinking I was forgotten. I wasn't. I had Y. I had parents who loved me. I had found strength I didn't know I had. And Y, he had become my hero. He took all the pain and turned it into something powerful. We didn't get revenge. We got justice. And now we have peace. Our story started in heartbreak, but it didn't end there. It's just the beginning.